So I've just been down to my sister's house, and my sister's 10 years older than me. My sister is facing the exact same problems as I have. It's this conspiracy. Obviously, it's being targeted the family. My sister's like me, she lives alone, and everything in her house is damaged. Everything. I've just been down, her gas fire's damaged, her central heating's damaged. The same as me, the taps have all been damaged. The roof's damaged, all the doors are damaged, and the windows are damaged. The toilet's not working now. They've gone through a house damaging everything. And when she first started telling me that people were in her house, this, that, and the other, around 15 years ago, I didn't believe her. I thought, no, it's in her head. This can't be happening. People don't do that to people. Unfortunately, it's very real. And it's really strange that I've looked on Google Earth, and out of all the houses in Blackburn, my house and my street has had all the addresses changed on the top of the houses, where my house hasn't got the correct address on it, and my house is in the middle of a car park, and my sister is the exact same, and they are the only two houses in the whole town that have had all the addresses changed on the street. So that's been done for a reason. That's on Google Earth and Google Maps, which I need to get all this printed out, and then I can show you on the paperwork, and I can prove it. I have got a lot of proof put away, but this is obviously some conspiracy. We are being followed. We are having people watching us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it makes us sound absolutely crazy. And that is what it is designed to do. All the bills that we're receiving are massively inflated. I saved up £900 in my British Gas account, and I was sent a bill saying I owed £7, even though I'd saved £900 up in a British Gas account, thinking I'm going to have some money to save, won't have to worry about my bills for a bit. Next thing, I contacted British Gas, who then sent me a statement going back 3 years saying I'd missed payments on every month, so it amended to £300. But the problem with this is, I'd had a guy come round and read my gas meter every 3 months, so I know I was fully up to date. So there's some people in very high esteem that are doing this to us. Or is it just our phones and our networks that have been infiltrated, and a certain matter of people are running it? But the problem is with that, I've been put in prison for complete fabricated charges that have been proven to be complete fabricated evidence and fabricated charges. And when I've rung up solicitors recently to try and get some evidence, I've been very abruptly disturbed by senior members of these solicitor companies, where I was speaking to the young girl at Kellogg Solicitors a few weeks ago, trying to get some information on a complete fabricated charge that was brought to my attention by a policewoman from Blackburn Greenbank Police Station, which is Officer Turner, who came to my house, and I've mentioned this plenty of times. She came with a picture of a leg, just a top part of someone's leg, saying my dog would bit a 5-year-old Asian girl. It was an extremely large, hairy white person's leg. But anyway, besides the point, this was brought to my attention 2 weeks after it was discussed in a local mosque. So I was told off a local shopkeeper that it was being discussed in a local mosque. And I rang Kellogg Solicitors, who represented me on this charge, and who said it was absolutely disgusted that I've even been charged off that kind of evidence. And Ian Kellogg was threatened halfway through the court hearing. He was taken out of the court into the chambers halfway through the court hearing, and then he came back to say he was unable to represent me. The guy was terrified. Whoever had spoke to him had seriously upset him. It scared him. He was shaking. He was pale white. He wouldn't go into it. He just said, I can't represent you anymore. Now, I rang Kellogg's 6-7 weeks ago to get some information because I was going to go to the CCR and get this charge looked at. And I was speaking to the young girl on the phone and she was just about to give me some evidence. And I was very rudely interrupted by a senior staff member who came on the phone saying there is no evidence. All the evidence has been destroyed. All the paperwork has been destroyed. That's Kellogg's in Preston. Why are they destroying paperwork? Obviously to cover up the massive amount of injustice that I faced, the corruption that I faced, the judges standing on corrupt trials at Preston Crown Court, the police officers pushing these charges through to court without being charged at a police station, without being officially charged, all under the counter. And this isn't the first time. This is about the third time I've had complete fabricated corrupt charges brought against me and imprisoned and absolutely terrorised in prison, trying to force me into pleading guilty to stuff that I haven't done. And I stuck it out and I stayed in prison for 3 months, being brought out of prison 5 separate times, each time them dropping a charge until it was down to 1 charge, and the solicitor then proved in court that the charges that had been brought against me were nothing but complete set-up things that had been set up by Blackburn PPU. And not only that, which I'm very shocked about, a family that is massively involved in drug dealing, and a family whose ex-husband was going to join the police, but he's massively involved in the supply of Class A drugs. And he was going to join the police, and he didn't get in the police. Now, I've been set up from that family, conspiring with a police officer from Blackburn PPU called Carl Haslam, who has conspired with this family and got her to set Facebook accounts up, and then they've changed the date of births on the Facebook accounts, and they've had me charged. But the thing is, my solicitor could have proved that these were complete fabricated accounts and completely set up the first time I attended court. But he didn't. He did it the 5th time I attended court. After months in prison and 5 different appearances at Blackburn Magistrates where I was charged with 5 offences, and then they dropped it to 4 offences, back to prison, no, I'm not pleading guilty, then 3 offences, then 2 offences, then 1 offence. Why didn't he prove it when it was 5 charges the first time I appeared in court? And my sister attended court every single time I went to court about this, so there's proof, but the paperwork has been completely destroyed. That's 1 charge. They had to bring the false charges against the dog because they couldn't enter my property whilst I had that dog. They had to get rid of that dog, and that is why the charges were brought against the dog, to remove the dog from the property so they could start entering my home and doing what they've done. And there's some pretty sick shit being set up. In fact, there's some absolutely disgusting stuff being set up. 2 fuse boxes in my flat. All the fuse box on the original fuse box, where on was off and off was on, it was all reversed. The second fuse box, I was coaxed into cutting through the power main after weeks of sleep deprivation and being coaxed into cutting through it by things being set up in my flat. Pretty clever things being set up in my flat to make me cut through that fuse box and murder myself and make it look like an accident. But I have survived these things and I live to tell the tale, and I have proof, but the police won't look into it. The police will not go into any of the proof that I have got. And most of the proof is being removed from my home. I put the pictures of the dog bite in a picture frame, behind a photograph in a picture frame on my wall. People came in my flat and removed that evidence. I've had my deeds tampered with for my property. I bought this property in 2000. People have come in my home, removed my deeds, amended my deeds to give this guy next door at number 3 a massive amount of my land, which is the whole reason really for this conspiracy, a lot of the reason for this conspiracy, because every single time we attend appointment they say, sell your property, sell your property, sell your property. Everywhere I go. My deeds have been amended by Twin Valley. You can see the black lines drawn in where they've put a new boundary. The CCTV, the front and back of the next door neighbour's house. Out of the 47 times that I have rung the police 101 line and reported people coming in my property, not once have the police gone and checked any of the CCTV footage which will show people entering my property. Now that is very strange. For me to ring the police 40 odd times about people entering my home and damaging stuff, damaging gas pipes behind a cooker, yeah, another one to get me to blow myself sky high. The police not even attending the property, blocking my number from ringing back. But there's been CCTV covering the property all this time, and they've never once been down and checked the CCTV. So who's responsible for doing this to us? I've had complete fabricated charges made up on the internet with e-fits of people that look very much like me, who have been living in Blackpool, who have raped 6-year-old kids, right? In my name, in the same name as me. So it makes people think it's me. And I took these e-fits to the police station with all the paperwork about the charges. The policeman said, yeah, it looks like you got something that's setting you up. And that was it, right? Now, I looked at them charges in the Blackpool Gazette, because you can go into the Lancashire you can go into the Lancashire Library, and you can go through all the newspapers, and I went on all the dates when these court appearances were supposed to be heard. There's nothing in the Blackpool Gazette. There was complete fabricated charges. Now, I know full well a couple of the families that are involved in doing this. There's a conspiracy, right, against me in this town. And there's quite a few people involved. There's been Facebook groups made up about me. There's been WhatsApp groups made up about me. And people love it. And it's very easy to harass a guy that lives on his own. Now, the neighbour at number 3, I've got the pictures. When I look out my front door, I look into his kitchen. He had "fuck you" with an arrow pointing at my flat in fridge magnets on his fridge for about 6 months. I've got a picture of it. Like I say, I'll print all these out and then I'll show you the evidence on the pictures. But why would he have "fuck you" on his fridge in magnets with an arrow pointing to my house? His wife's been going around telling people that they've been trying to drive me out of the property. I lived here for 6 years when I first bought this flat, quite happily, until he moved in next door. He has quite a lot of property, and his wife's been telling people that they've been trying to get me out of this flat for I don't know how long. But apart from that, I've seen the police going in there quite a lot. Now, this started when I left a girl whose brother's an inspector in the police, and he's been working in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, training other police officers. So you can imagine he's involved with some quite serious people. But the things that I've got to say make me look a raving nutcase, and that is what it is all boiled down to do, is to make me look completely ludicrous and like these things would never happen. But these things are happening on a daily basis. I'm being followed when I go out the flat. They have moved people in the flat next door downstairs, which still belongs to Blackburn Twin Valley. The guy's got the curtains shut 24 hours a day. He starts having coughing fits when it comes on the telly, anything to do with police corruption, anything to do with what's been going on during the day. He starts having coughing fits or bang something. So it's attract my attention. What they were doing at one time, they was driving cars past with a certain engine noise, revving it as they got past the house. Or the police would drive past and they would just put the flashing blue light on without the siren. Sometimes so it would light up my flat blue when a certain thing came on my telly. Now I've looked into it about like a mind control thing where they put stuff on your TV and on your apps that resort to things and get you thinking. Like, I put in my YouTube on and everything is about conspiracies. There's a program called The Field, and it's these guys are trying to drive this old woman out of her house and they're terrorising her. She has an open fireplace and they're putting slates on her top of her chimney and all her house is filling up with smoke and stuff like that. And stuff like that has been done to me, where I've been put on children's adventure parks in Accrington, just outside Accrington, where little kids are stopping over for the weekend on adventure camps without the parents. And whilst I've been on there, I've had people in my house doing work, blocking up my chimney, putting a brand new flue from my chimney onto my roof, and using that to harass me. A bottle of ammonia was smashed in it, which filled my living room up with ammonia. My living room windows have been screwed shut. Four big fucking screws through the frames to stop me opening the windows. Now, it sounds far-fetched, but why aren't the police coming out when I'm ringing the police and reporting stuff like this? It's just too much to report that people have been in your home illegally and pulled your cooker away from the wall and physically bent the pipe behind your cooker so gas is spewing into your property. And you ring the police and they do not attend, but yet block your number from being able to ring emergency services back. It's beyond comparison. And that was on 0771195939562, which is an old number. If anybody knows how to do this, you can look, maybe get the record from the police from when I did ring up and report it and see why nobody attended. Why am I ringing the police over 40 times now to report massive amounts of damage inside my property? And the CCTV camera is removed off the street that covers my property. Now, why would that be removed when I'm reporting people entering my home, damaging stuff? You think they'd put another CCTV camera up? So it just proves that it's definitely 100% something to do with the police for them to remove that camera, because it was removed within 15 hours of me reporting on 101 that whoever's entering my property can be seen on the CCTV camera across the road. I came out the next morning, there was an engineer up a pair of ladders that removed it. When I eventually cut through the second fuse box that were fitted, the power main, it should have cut the power off the street, it didn't. It didn't even cut the power off from downstairs. That was supposed to murder me. I went and knocked on the old lady's door because I'm such a decent person to make sure she's still got electric, and the police answered her door. And they was with an engineer, electrician, that removed the fuse box from my house. This is serious shit. This is people trying to fucking murder me. And being completely blatant about it. I was knocked off my bicycle off a driver who drove straight through a junction and hit me deliberately. Only in November 2024. And he's an uninsured driver, apparently the police are saying now. An unrecognised driver. But he was questioned off the police there and then, because there was 4 officers already there before he even fucking hit me. It was set up. And they let him drive off. So why are the police, this Officer Lyons who's dealing with the case, who I've rung quite a few times and tried to speak to about this charge, why hasn't he rung me back? Why have they completely let the police drive off? And like you can hear then as I'm speaking, people coming past beeping. Just to take the piss, basically. And this has been done regularly, where something's on the telly, something comes on the telly, I'm watching a programme and it'll mention police corruption. Somebody will come past and start beeping, beep, 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 like that outside my house. And my sister's having the exact same thing, because we were just talking about it now. She's having the exact same thing done. She said, like, I'm watching telly and something comes on about something broke in someone's house, and it's something that's broke in my house, and they'll drive past and start beeping outside the house. And I said, yeah, well, you know, I'm having the exact same done. I didn't believe you at first, but I do believe you now, because I'm having the exact same thing done. So why are the Blackburn police targeting me and my sister? Very strange. Very, very strange. Because it's been going on for over 10 years now. And it's to drive us down, basically. To try and drive us down. And every appointment we're attending, why don't you move? Why don't you move? Job centre, why don't you move? Shelter, why don't you move? Community drug team, why don't you move? Everywhere, why don't you move? Why should I move? Why should I move? Now, I attended an appointment at Blackburn Shelter to get some help with my benefits because I've had my pip stops and stuff, even though only 3 weeks ago, 2 sets of doctors attended my house, wanted me to go into a mental health hospital. But then I was told off my drugs worker this was done because the local councillor that's now been elected for Blackburn, this independent, this Adam, I'm saying whatever he's called, had contacted Blackburn Community Drug Mental Health Team after I emailed him about serious corruption that I'm facing. So the Blackburn MP had contacted the mental health team to come round and section me because I'd emailed him. I emailed the exact same email to my last solicitor, Christine Holleran, who sent a lovely letter saying get the crime reference numbers and she will get in touch with the chief constable and get him to look into it. And, funny enough, that letter that she sent me was removed from my home. After my home was broken into, they smashed the latch off my window with a hammer. There was 2 massive big dents in the metal latch on the window that had been smashed completely off. And then they took my hammers, they took my tools, and they also removed the letter that Christine Holleran had sent me. And this has been done regularly. Everything I have that proves stuff is removed from my home. People are coming in, removing it and taking it. But people are trying to murder me. People have tried to murder me. People have been very unsuccessful in trying to murder me and left a massive trail of evidence. But the police will not look into it. For some reason, I'm being fucked off all the time. Now, I'm going to keep making these videos and I'm going to record absolutely everything because everything is damaged. My sister buys something, it's damaged. I'm buying stuff, the packages are opened, the stuff inside it is damaged, and then it's posted on to me. And if that doesn't happen, it's damaged the next time I leave my home. Like I got a new toaster a couple of weeks ago. The first time I went out of the home, I came back and it's damaged. And this is happening all the time, every time I leave the property. There's people coming in. They've come in and they've injured my cats. Somebody left a little toy knife about this big that belongs to an action man on my bed. And my cat had its nose slashed right across the bottom. And it weren't a fight with another cat. It had been done off somebody who left a little toy knife on my bed after they came in and damaged my cat, hurt my cat. And he's terrified. He's always looking at the door and I was on pins, is the cat, because they keep coming in and scaring him. And this is being done regularly. And there's people that live on the street that are massively involved and they love it because they think they're doing something, they're part of something. I've had credit cards from my bank that have £3,000 limit pushed over the limit by £1,500, even though I've not spent anything on it. £3,000 credit card goes to £4,500, even though I've not spent a penny of it. And then I've got it back down to the £3,000 limit, and it's gone over again by £1,500 until it took all my savings and made it completely impossible to be able to pay again. And then I get statements, and every single payment that was spent on that card is spent on an American Express card, and I've never owned an American Express card. And then they closed down the TSB bank where that paperwork stemmed from and that corruption stemmed from. After the unsuccessfully try and get me to murder myself by cutting through the power main on the fuse box that was fitted when I attended an appointment. Now my mum died in November and my mum's will's been amended to cut me out the will and leave me with no money. My other sister's ended up with a £170,000 house. Not the sister that's been harassed, the other sister. She's ended up with a £170,000 house and everything, and I've got nothing. Now my mum wouldn't do that. they've been amended. The probate was given within 4 weeks. You don't get probate in 4 weeks. It's absolutely impossible. But she did. The probate's been given within 4 weeks. And on the day of my mum's funeral, as I pulled up in the hearse, the police drove past the funeral, turned the siren on, louder than I've ever heard it before, just as they got outside the church, and then they turned it off as they got past the church, just to disrespect my mother because she stood for the BNP in Blackburn. And then when I got home, there was a hand-delivered letter from the police off this Officer Kelly, the 9th one, about a complaint I put into the police. Also, I've been blocked from being able to submit reports onto the police website. It won't recognise my name. It's saying it's unrecognisable. What they did, I put a report in on the police website and they amended the date on it. They changed the date on the report that I put in. They put it back 4 days. After 3 days, you can't submit the same report. And that's how they did it. And I submitted that report. They changed the date on it. They sent me an email saying it hadn't been submitted. You have to submit it again within 3 days. But they changed the date on it to 4 days gone. So it couldn't be submitted again. And every time I tried to put a report in on the police website, it's coming up with errors on my name or my date of birth. It won't let me report things on the police website. Things like that have been done. I've had stuff. I've found little chips soldered onto battery packs where people have come in my home. They took the charger for something I bought. It were for spraying models. And it had a little battery pack with it, and they kept coming in taking the charger for it, so I couldn't use it. So I ended up chucking it in a drawer. And I left it there for about 5 years. And I couldn't get on any solicitors. I couldn't get any land registry thing. Anything that I needed to get on the internet to help me out. I couldn't search it. I couldn't find it. And then I discovered this battery pack had been put in this drawer. And it had a little chip soldered to it. And I snapped that chip off because it shouldn't have been there. And as soon as I snapped it off, my telly rebooted. My phone rebooted. And I was able to get on the sites that I was previously blocked to, Blackburn Council, stuff like that. What is going on is a conspiracy, and it's happening to me and my sister. And we need help of somebody, because there's people in high esteem. If they're going in to courts and threatening solicitors, and threatening them to a point where the guy was terrified. Ian Kellogg from Preston Kellogg Solicitors was terrified when he walked out of that chambers in that court. Whoever had threatened him, or whatever had been said to him, seriously upset him. Now that solicitor has destroyed all the paperwork from that court when it weren't even 6 years. They don't destroy paperwork until it's 6 years, and it weren't 6 years. And all the paperwork has been destroyed from a complete fabricated charge that was concocted in a local mosque in Blackburn and brought to my attention by Officer Turner, WPC Turner, from Blackburn Greenbank Police Station, who likes to wave and take the piss when she drives past me regularly. Now she should be facing charges of corruption. I've had my door completely taken off and evidence removed when I've had to represent myself in court, because Jonathan Taylor from Blackburn Solicitors completely lied, completely fooled and lied to the judge about how long I've been in there, got me to plead guilty to charges that I'd not done, just to get me out of prison at the time. And he conspired with people to set me up, and he did set me up. And I've been set up on quite a few charges. I've got a record now where half of it is just bullshit, and then it's been concocted to make me look a real wrong 'un. And I'm going to keep making these videos. I'm going to record everything. I'm going to get all the paperwork and all the printouts and the evidence I've got, and I'm going to show you on paper what I'm talking about and the proof I've got, and hopefully see if somebody can help me one day, because I can't get help off anyone. People are being warned and threatened off from helping me. And people are trying to murder me and covering it up. And Blackburn Lancashire Police are fully involved.